So welcome to my thought for the day for Tuesday the 2nd of February. It's a delight to be sharing with you once again, and we're continuing in our series on the promises of God in the Bible. And today we're looking at a very well-known verse from Romans chapter 8 and verse 28, where Paul wrote this: "And we know that in all things God works for the good for those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." This has been described as one of the best known and best loved verses in the Bible. Romans chapter 8 overall is a magnificent chapter which you could spend a whole sermon series dwelling on. However, this verse is an absolute gem. And we know that in all things God works for the good for those who love him, who've been called according to his purpose. And yet, in the midst of a pandemic, seeing God working for our good, for those who love him, who are called according to his purpose of salvation in all things, is not easy. In fact, it's difficult, if not impossible. Yes, a few good things have emerged from the pandemic, yet it's difficult to see God's hand with over 100,000 people dying from or with COVID in our nation and many more millions around the world. How is God working for the good for those who love him? Well, we have to hold on to the tension that this verse creates in us between knowing that God has an overall plan and is working his purposes out, yet not always being able to discern it day by day. I love the end of this passage where Paul outlines all the hardships that we could endure, yet affirms that God is for us and nothing can separate us from his love. So today, whatever you are doing, I would encourage you to look for areas in your life, our town, our country and our world, where you can see God's work at hand and where he is working for the good for those who love him. As well as hold on to the promise that overall God in Christ is working for the good for those who love him, which will be completed in our final salvation, and nothing can separate us from that love. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.